Back to my channel, it's Krista here for the weekly reading for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. If you don't know your Moon and Rising sign, Aries, there's a link in the description box where you can find your whole birth chart, and that way for additional information for the week, you can always check out your Moon and Rising sign readings in addition to your Sun sign reading today. So this is for August 29th to September 5th. I'll be using the Wisdom of the Oracle deck for your main spread today, and drawing additional cards from each of the Healing with the Angels Tarot and the Medicine card Tarot. I actually did a reading for you and the 4 first signs, and the audio didn't take. So we're gonna start fresh. So I was actually really excited for your last reading. Anyway, we won't be sharing that. We're going to start fresh, and I might make this a teeny bit shorter than normal videos. So bear with me, and then I'll know not to make the same mistake next time. Okay, so we're looking at general issues for your sign. Whatever is most prominent in your life, please apply these messages to, and I hope you find them helpful and healing. So what does Aries need to know? Okay, so far this is very different, which is interesting. So we're just looking for, there it is. Okay, so that was in your spread last time. And there was another karmic card as well. So I still see 2 high karmic cards for you. The other karmic card that was here is very, very different, but this did appear. So that's cool. All right, so let's get an idea of what's going on with all 4 cards together here, and then we'll look at each card on its own. So just to give you a snapshot of what is going on for the week for you, it appears as though you are having thoughts or expressions of fate, or that things are fateful or fated, or you're trying to find out what star you're attached to when contemplating what you want to do for the next little while, or for the rest of your life, as it were. So we're looking at issues of fate, possibly solving something or having something go round and around and around in circles. Is it by your hand, or is it in a direction that you want? I think you're still wondering about that, or you're still trying to find out what your motivations are as you move towards something that you find fateful. There is a lot of action being taken this week, or an action has been taken that will lead you to asking some deep developmental questions about yourself as you are now and where you want to be, if you want to be there, and how to get there ultimately. So let's look at the general energy card. Of course, here is the Fates, and this is where you attach your star. This is where you need to know where you belong and why you are propelled towards certain things. There is actually, when it comes to the fates and being propelled to something, and I'm only bringing this up because I see that you might have been here before. You might have, your current situation, by the way, is motivation. But you're going to be revisiting something here, either, like I said, willfully, or it's going to make its way back into your life. The reason why I think the fates is really important here and what you're attaching your star to is because you're looking at belonging, where you belong, and if you're brave enough to do it. I don't think that you're going to talk yourself out of anything. I think it's just brave enough to recognize what it really is for you, or how powerful and significant this fate is for you, or how something feels fated to you. So I would keep going in that direction. Keep finding out for yourself what's significant to you, why it's significant to you, and really don't make it about anyone else. If that's been a habit or a theme or a common thread with this what's going around and around here. I do feel these are major arcanas to me, the fates and round. So like I said, it could be something that you have thought of ages ago and you're revisiting now, or something that's been going on and on and on for a great deal of time that you find there's no end in, and it's become circular instead of spiral. But I think you're going to take an action regarding this very soon. It's just really important to understand your motivations for doing things, especially this week. Another theme here with the fates in terms of round and round is to make sure that you're not going backwards, especially if you've connected yourself to a new star, or you've made a new move or decided something new for yourself, and there's a residual pull to something that you used to be attached to or related to, or you know, was a habit for you. If you've switched anything up recently for yourself, just beware here that you're not sort of crawling back to it out of fear of the future, or out of, again, not knowing where this is going to take you, if it's going to turn into a circle or a spiral here. But much has to do with the fates. Other questions that could arise out of this are, why are things the way they are right now? How did I get here? These types of things. I also wanted to raise, and it skipped my mind as soon as I brought it up. So I wanted to raise here, when it comes to the fates, that everyone has a planet, everyone has a Lilith planet. You have a planet in Lilith, which is like, your sun is in Aries, your moon is in another sign, your Mercury is in another sign. Well, your chart includes a Lilith, and if you fill it out with that link that I have included there, you can find out your Lilith. And depending on what your Lilith is, you might even find some information there where you're, where you can determine what your fate is, or why you end up belonging or being attracted to or pulled in certain directions, because your Lilith is actually your karma in your astrology chart. So just something to look at for fun, or for some more information. Yeah, you may find that there's some information regarding your Lilith that has to do with the fates. So why is the card representing you this week? Aries, why is literally motivation. What motivates you to do and say things, and what motivates you to keep your mouth shut and keep walking. This is all about also intentions. What do you hope to get out of something, and what are you paying off? And this is, again, this is the energy card to everything else here. So perhaps you feel as though you owe something and it's not paid off. Not necessarily finances, obviously. We're talking about fates here, particularly, or, you know, the emotions or the psyche. Perhaps you feel like you did pay it off, and why would you continue getting the same outputs or obstacles or conversations, etc. So perhaps you weren't able to get to the bottom of the fates here in the past, or perhaps you're not satisfied with the answer that you last came up with when you began to ask, what are my motivations behind doing, thinking, believing, and behaving a certain way? Certainly, if you're not asking what your motivations are, I'm seeing here that it's a very important question for you to be asking yourself this week. In the influence card position, what has influenced you to this position currently is the yang. It's because literal physical action has been taken. You've done something recent past to lead you to this situation. So you might even be disappointed with yourself on some level. Like I said, I feel like something is going around and around for you that you, again, either want to be tied to. That's great. If you are, but if you don't want to be tied to that, you're really going to have to get to the root of why you keep going back to something that you feel tied to or fated to. That, like I said, perhaps you feel on some level that you haven't paid a debt to the fate, or something still needs to be learned through this relationship or through this outcome or crises or whatever is happening here, and it just hasn't been learned in its entirety, or it hasn't been learned to your satisfaction yet. And the reason I'm saying that is because we have the round and round as a probable outcome, which is literally revisiting something. And again, if it's great, if it's something you want to be revisiting and you want in your life and you're totally on board and you've made a conscious effort towards something that you truly want, then continue, keep going, because this will spiral out. It will keep growing. However, if it's the opposite and you're not pleased with this and something is showing up you don't want to see, that's going to keep growing. So I think the theme here is to get to the root of what your motivations are for doing something and for and why you would be winding up in a similar or a same position. It might not even be the same person. That's the other thing. This meeting with something that feels like it keeps happening may not even be with the same person. This might even be a decade old, and you're like, oh, I've been free of it all this time, and it'll show up again. And that could be why you feel automatically it's faded. Yeah, if there's no other meaning you can take from that, I would really question at that point, if you've been free of it particularly and it keeps coming back, why you might feel on some deep-seated level that you deserve this. And maybe there could be some motivation behind changing thoughts around deservability. Certainly intention is a really important theme this week. What do you intend to do? What do you intend the outcome to be? And how do you intend for this to behave in the world? Healing. Well, like I said, I do think that something here does need to be healed. In particular, something needs to be looked at very distinctly and definitively for yourself. Again, it is the Y card, but its word is motivation. Especially if you find yourself feeling down around someone that you feel you should be feeling up with, or around a situation that you don't think is healed and you think it should be paid off and over, but it keeps showing up in your life as, if not disease, as an illness, as an unease, as some type of lack. Whenever we're healing from something, we're healing from a lack, real or perceived. So perhaps this is something you can give yourself, particularly if you have previous to this been looking for that healing from this other person or from any other person. If this is all super positive and there's absolutely nothing to learn and you're totally on the right track, it could be, and I just mean that, yeah, you're hitched to the right fate star, you're taking action here, you're asking questions around motivation, you're willing to keep redoing something here until it turns out the way you wanted it to. There could be other people affected in this process as well, so they could use your healing if this isn't strictly about you. Maybe they just need to know that you're doing something for you, and it doesn't mean that they need to change, or it doesn't mean that they're doing anything wrong, or that you've changed your mind about them. I just see a little effort here being put toward healing communications or rifts or any issues at all, whether they have to do with another person or they're strictly about you. Yeah, I would like to see you get to the bottom of what keeps going round and round for you here. And remember, this I mean, this is what do you need to know? So this is what appears what will happen if you take this route, right? If you take a definitive action this week, maybe if you've been thinking about taking an action on doing something beginning on the 29th, perhaps there's an opportunity now to say, you know what, I'm going to hold up on that. I'm going to hold up on taking action, and I'm going to look deeper at my motivations for having taken this action, or look at my motivations with regard to where I think I belong and what I deserve and what I owe, in addition to motivations around what keeps happening and what do I expect to happen. So yeah, some healing. It could even just be an I'm sorry. It could have to do something that's deep within, something you need to get to the root of. And your final card is the Turkey. This is giveaway. I'm going to suggest that you need to give away feelings of owing. And this keeps cropping up basically because of the fates. And then we have the round and round. Like I said, 2 major arcana to me. It just means they're heavy cards. They're heavy energy. So perhaps there's an opportunity this week to give away this sense of control over someone else, over an outcome, over even where you belong. Maybe, yes, you deserve the answer. Maybe putting yourself under pressure isn't the way to get it. So giveaway could also mean giving away something that no longer works for you. Its purpose has been served and you can move away from it. This is, I'm reading this against the fates now too. Perhaps you know your motivations and you can now walk away from what doesn't work, and now with more clarity move into the future because you've made room for something new. Okay, so I will leave it there. If you have a second, let me know how this works out for you. And if you're not already, subscribe to my channel because I upload videos for your sign every single week. So until we meet next time, take care, Aries. Bye for now.